Imagine walking along the Seine on your way to a lecture, or admiring the Louvre on your study break. It's no wonder Paris is the most popular city in France for international students. Interested yet? Stay tuned for everything else you need to know about studying in France. Universities in France are almost free, at least for EU students. But even for students outside of Europe, fees are much cheaper than in places like the UK or the US. As an American who studied in the US, I wish I would have known about my options to study in Europe sooner. France certainly has a lot of attractive reasons for international students to study here. For starters, the quality of education is exceptionally high. 44 French universities were listed in the World University Rankings in 2024. And it's not just universities. There are many top-tier business schools here in France, so doing an MBA here could also be an option for you. Add that to the rich history and culture here, the gorgeous sights. I mean, look at it. And let's be honest, a pretty sophisticated way of life. Why wouldn't you want to study here? I spoke with a couple of students here to learn about their experiences. What were your first impressions of Paris when you arrived? Were there any culture shocks?
For me, it was, why is everything so beautiful? I couldn't stop walking just to take in the beautiful architecture.
For me, it's similar. The architecture is so beautiful and there's so much history. The names of the roads are just some scientists or philosophers that I read about in my high school. And now I'm here.
For the first time, I thought that I was a little bit good at French until I got here and I realized that no, I do not know anything about French. Everybody just speaks fast, and I'm still adapting to that, to the new language.
Coming from Asia, everything seemed really slow, especially in terms of bureaucracy. So that was a shock for me. And also, I did not speak any French when I came here. So adapting to that also took some time.
But you were able to, and
yes.
Now you speak French. So what was that process like?
For example, in my course, everything is in English, so I did not feel the pressure to learn it fast. So I just practiced with friends, took some courses online. And of course, when I'm already living in Paris and everything is in French, it's easier to learn that way.
And trying to speak French with friends really helps because they're willing to teach me all the time. Yeah.
The number of international students in France is constantly growing, and in 2024, it passed 430,000. Many of France's international students come from French-speaking countries, like Morocco and Algeria, but also from China, Italy, and the US. Most universities in France only offer courses in French. However, some do offer English. There are over 1,500 English-taught courses in France overall. Most of them are master's programs. Now let's talk money. For non-EU students, public tuition fees are around 3,000 to 4,000 euros per year, and PhD students can expect to pay less than 400 euros a year. By comparison, I went to Ohio University and paid in-state tuition, which is cheaper, but it's still almost 14,000 euros per year. When it comes to living costs like accommodation and groceries, Paris is one of the most expensive cities in the world. Lyon is also pretty pricey, but cities like Strasbourg, Marseille, and Bordeaux are more affordable. So, how difficult is it to find accommodation in Paris?
If you want to start yourself, finding housing in Paris could be quite difficult. For example, last year when I was living in a government housing through Welcome Desk, my rent was $420, $450-ish. Now I pay double because I had to move out. But Welcome Desk or Campus France, they have been really helpful.
Speaking of Welcome Desks, most universities have teams dedicated to helping international students feel at home in Paris. I met with 2 French students doing just that. What do you think is the most difficult thing for an international student who first arrives here?
Honestly, meeting with other French. I think this is one of the most difficult things. Like, most of French students already have their group of friends, so it's kind of difficult, to just to sneak into some already formed groups.
Do you have any tips, any pieces of advice that you would give to international students?
Enjoy your time, explore France. France is not that big in terms of size, so you can explore, that's the moment.
That sounds good, but what about the future? What are your options in France as an international student afterwards? Graduates have the opportunity to apply for a 1-year temporary residence permit so that they can search for a job. If you are offered a full-time role that is at least 1.5 times the minimum wage, then you can change your visa status from student to employee and will be allowed to work full-time. So you'll definitely have a chance to stay in this beautiful country even once your studies are over. So have we convinced you to come to France to get your degree? If you're still unsure, what other European country would you like to study in? Let us know in the comments. Au revoir!